So this I turn over to Jeff, and you'll see a real pro make ice cream while I make faces at him. Take it away,
What a
Professor.
setup. What a setup.
Yes, it is. I hope you're good today.
I'm going to start because Steve tells me what to make here, so we're going to start with key lime pie ice cream. It's not key lime ice cream, it's key lime pie ice cream, and it's one of my original recipes. Just to give you a real quick, my philosophy, I told you all I sat back there and saw what you're seeing, except you didn't see me. I didn't see me. You have that benefit. But I saw Steve, and this is way back when, 3 years ago, and he was using all this stuff to make his ice cream. And I went ahead and bought a machine, and I didn't know about all this stuff, know where to get it, I didn't have it, and I was a little impulsive to make ice cream. So I had the machine off the truck into my kitchen. I had an electrician waiting there to give me a 220 line, and then because I was so impatient to make ice cream, I just went to the supermarket and I walked up and down the aisles and I thought, well, that'll make a good ice cream and that'll make a good ice cream. So that has become my philosophy. I don't use any of this stuff. I go supermarketing, and that's the whole philosophy behind the book I wrote and the course I teach. The fact that anybody can do this. And my best finds are in Asian markets, Latin markets, West Indian markets, because they have stuff that we don't know about that is really cool desserts. So, just any Hispanic people here today? You ever hear of horchata? Yeah, well, I didn't know what that was. So
I don't know what it is.
Well, I wasn't talking to you.
Okay.
So,
well, you're going to have to tell me.
So I saw horchata right next to the tamarind. They were both in the same containers. And I asked this couple walking down the aisle, what is that? And they told me it's almond, cinnamon, cream, and rice. So I said, that sounds like rice pudding. So I bought a couple of jugs of it, and I brought it back to the store, and now rice pudding ice cream is my third biggest seller. And that was just from something sitting on the shelf called horchata. Now, if I called my ice cream horchata, it would sit in the horchata freezer for 6 months and nobody would buy it. But rice pudding ice cream is flying off the shelf, and it's delicious. It's real good. And the formula for that is ridiculously simple. And for those of you tomorrow, I'll show you how to make a recipe. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, key lime pie ice cream, and you should put it on cards, and you should laminate them, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so because I do what I do in supermarkets, I saw this, key lime pie filling. So today we're going to take 2 of these, which is 44 ounces. And the ice cream mix, the machine that he gave me, I'm going to use 5 quarts of mix. So on this card and in the book, you'll see all different sizes of recipes. Some for the countertop model, which is the one I started off with when I was poor and couldn't afford anything else. And now I have a 24-quart machine. But like here, you can't see, but you'll trust me, it says 2.5 quarts of mix, 5 quarts of mix, 7.5 quarts of mix. And on the back, which is what I use now, is 10 quarts of mix. And then everything is broken down to that. And that's how I tried to make the book, so that you can use it for whatever size machine you have. Or you can just multiply it out. It's kind of simple. Except for that person over there, it's not so simple. All right, so we have 5 quarts of mix. And to that we're going to add 2 cans of key lime pie filling. Very quiet in here. If you have any questions, just ask away, because I don't have a lot of filler material.
It's 44 ounces to total? Or?
Yeah, you know why it's 44 ounces? Because the cans come in 22s. So when I made the recipe, when I created the formula, I took that into account. because keeping it simple is really important.
Then when they reduce the size of the can, you have to buy a third can to make up for it.
What's that?
When they reduce the size of the can.
Like they did with the
You know, that's a good point. And that sucks. I mean, that stinks. That's not really good. Like tuna fish. You know, when I was growing up, tuna fish was 7.5 ounce cans, and now they're like 4 ounce cans. It just gets lower and lower. Yes, sir.
Quick question. The different sizes, you guys have the 12-quart model here and the 6-quart. When it comes to the recipes, as far as the amount of ingredients, would all of those, would you just have, like, you know, just a base recipe and then, you know, just fit the max capacity?
The question is, how do you adapt the recipes for your size machine? That was pretty good how he did that, right? Your question was 5 minutes. My synopsis was 2 seconds. Anyway, that's what I was explaining here, but he was talking to his friend, so he missed it. If simple math, if all I gave you was a 10-quart mix recipe, and you want to do half of it, how much you think you need? And then if the sugar is 12 ounces, yeah, so it's not very hard to do. Like I told you before, this is the world's simplest business that you'll work harder than anyone else in. And keep that in mind. It's very simple, but you'll work hard. You'll work long hours, and you'll work hard, but it's a simple business.
The other thing about sizes of machines, which is good to know, because it's a recent thing that we did. All your recipe books, all your formulas are always going to show up as 2.5 gallons or 10 quarts, 20 quarts, 40 quarts. This is a 12-quart machine. When we make ice cream, you're going to run most likely a 10-quart batch, because 10 quarts finished, because all your ice cream products are 10 quarts. The reason it's rated as 12 quarts, because again we go by finished product, is when the Italian ice people make a product, they are using sugar, water, and flavor. So it's very easy for them to adapt. Their product takes 8 minutes longer than ice cream, so they want to get as much out of a batch as they can. So they'll run these machines at the full capacity that we say, 12 quart, 24 quart, 44 quart. Your recipes for ice cream, like in Jeff's book, are going to be 10, 20, 40. The machine doesn't make any difference how much you put into it. It's just a matter of how your recipe is.
As long as the proportions are right.
And as Jeff said, it's just simple math. If you want to go from this to that, in his book, cut everything in half.
Cut it in half, that's it. Okay, so a word about ingredients. You're all going to think in the beginning that you can save some money by using Walmart M&Ms instead of M&Ms, or Fred's key lime instead of the real good key lime. Just don't do it. And your ice cream, because you want your ice cream or ices to be the best. Obviously, people are within 2 miles of your store, so the customers have a choice. So make your product the best you can. That's it. So it's really immeasurably more for what you get out of it. 12 ounces of lime juice, and being that said, I always use Key West key lime juice. In my line here, I got the stage here. Key West lime juice, really a good product. Sugar. That much.
Put the sugar in, Jeff.
That much. How much is that? That'll be 18 ounces of sugar. Who asked that? Okay. Yes.
You said don't cut corners with flavors. How about cutting corners with mixes?
Oh, God. Well, you can't.
15%.
Oh, well, that's not cutting corners. That's just your preference.
The butterfat content.
Yeah, the butterfat content. Now, interestingly enough, when I got into this business, I didn't know one butterfat from another. So I ordered 10%, which is at the low end of ice cream. And you want to hear a funny story or a true story? Okay. The true story is that the company that delivers it, I get 60 gallons delivered every Tuesday night of cream, of mix. And I always got 10%. Well, one time the driver gets off and he says, they put 12 on instead, 12%. Do you want it? I said, I don't know. I'll take it, because you need it. So I took it, and the first batch I made, I threw away. Because to me, it tasted gummy. It tasted like this. Is that, you know what I mean? Okay, that being said, I ran a little store. Now it's a big store, but it was a little store. And one of the original flavors in my book, which we still sell today, and it's a phenomenal flavor, is coconut. And the ingredients, you'll see, but it's coconut ice cream. So one day a guy walks in. This is a God's honest true story. Big gentleman, Hispanic gentleman, and he came in and he said he represents the Florida Ice Cream Association. He sells ice cream up and down Florida. I said, okay, and he looks up and he says, you have coconut, a big Latin flavor. And I said, yeah. So he takes the coconut. This is a true story. He takes the coconut, takes a spoonful, and this is exactly what happened. He went like this. 18. And I said, right. And he was an aficionado, an ice cream, and he thought it was 18% butterfat, which is even beyond Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs traditionally 16%. And I got to tell you, that's the beauty of this machine. I don't make money on his machines. I don't even, he does what he does. He makes the best machine in the world. And this machine will give you the best premium ice cream. And you tasted those cream ices. They were extraordinary. It's so smooth. If you go around tasting ice creams, you can tell what comes out of his machine. It's a smoother product. And part of the reason is his infinite overrun control, which is the ability to set the RPMs on this machine, anything from 130 RPMs, which is gelato. So it's going around like this, and it's going to be so rich and thick and creamy, to 235, which is Italian ices. And anything in between. So you can really have a blast with that. Unfortunately, my machine doesn't have it. I have an older machine, but yes.
What's the butterfat content of the mix that you guys are using today?
10. 10. You do what you want. 10 is great. And somebody, I think, originally asked about the price, cutting corners. I think it is a few cents cheaper for 10 than 12 than 16 or 18, but it's marginally different. It's no big deal. All right, can we mix? Okay, so what have we got in here? We have the mix. We have 5 quarts of mix. We have sugar, 18 ounces. We have 44 ounces of key lime. And we have 12 ounces of lime juice. And that is it. Now we're going to just whisk it up a little bit so that we can get it into the machine. And who's going to go into the ice cream business? Just a show of hands. And how about the ices business? So it's about half and half. Just for those at home, it's about 1,500 of each one in the audience. Got to make it sound like a really big time here. Not that there's 7 people sitting here. All right. Steve doesn't do things that an ice cream maker should do, because he doesn't make ice cream every day like you will and I do. So Steve forgets things like putting something under there. See the puddle? See the puddle on the floor? So those are things you'll remember. Also, that rubber shelf liner stuff with the holes in it, that comes in a roll? Well, buy a roll of that. It's like $2. And then what I do is I cut strips of it, and I lay a strip right across here so that the vibration of the machine doesn't knock over your stuff. And I always have that there, because if you do forget and leave the gate open, did he clean this out? Also, he just sanitized this morning. I don't do that. I do it at cleanup because the smell of the sanitizer, I don't like it. And I don't like it connected to ice cream, so I do it the night before, when I finish instead of when I start.
Right.
Okay. So, anything else?
I got a question. Just like when you walk through the supermarket and you're looking at all the different premium ice creams, the junky ones, are like the Breyers and stuff, are they like the higher butter fat?
Well, I don't look at ice cream in the supermarket, but well, Haagen-Dazs, I think we know, is 16% butter fat.
It's 10%.
And Breyers is 10. And Breyers used to be my favorite ice cream growing up, but they've changed so much now. It's just a bunch of air.
Their ice cream is, we put Haagen-Dazs, a good example, Haagen-Dazs, Ben & Jerry, we put them into business with our largest machines. But when they went commercial, it changed because with the batch method, with our batch method, everything goes into the machine. So for every particle of strawberry, there's a particle of dairy, there's a particle of strawberry next to it. So you have a very intense strawberry ice cream. With commercial ice cream, it's a long, narrow tube that only makes vanilla. Costs about $300,000. At the end of that long, narrow tube is a $40,000 machine called a fruit feeder. So they're always making vanilla, and then they're injecting strawberries into it. So it looks like strawberry ice cream, but it's actually vanilla ice cream with strawberries added. With the batch method, with the Emery Thompson, again, for every particle of vanilla dairy, there is a particle of flavor next to it. So homemade ice cream will always be more intense made on Emery Thompson. With the other machines on the market, the Cappigiani, Taylors, Technogel, Stolting, all these Italian machines with Chinese parts, they all say if you add ingredients into the machine, we'll void your warranty because their beaters aren't strong enough to take it. So ours are, of course, and so everything goes in here. Even one of the tougher ones to do where you take in Roebling chocolate, big block of chocolate, melt it down in a double boiler, and while it's hot, I pour it into the machine, and depending on the chocolate, it'll either break into strands to make stracciatella gelato, or you can make chocolate chip where it breaks into a regular sized pieces of chocolate. So it's like getting vanilla ice cream with chocolate candy in it. You can't do that on any other machine because they're not strong enough.
Did you see how well I poured that in there without spilling?
Without spilling.
That was pretty good. Just want you to notice the finesse here.
But I do have one hint. In order to turn it into ice cream, you have to turn the machine on.
Okay, now we're ready.
This could be... What do you want? Homemade? Okay. And start. Look at that. You've mastered this technology. Now,
this will run at about 234, right? 230
for a higher content
right.
ice cream, yes.
Right. And
you want to go lower?
no, that's fine.
Okay. How about the refrigeration? You want that?
I wanted to mix a little because we have sugar in there.
Okay.
When it's just what you're used to. I'm used to getting, I want my ice cream to be really creamy. So when I have a recipe that adds sugar to the machine, I mix it a little before I turn the refrigeration on, just to make it creamy.
Three things I like to say about ice cream, because people get so hung up on the terminology. And this is like baking. It's fun. You know what you like because it's delicious. Nobody ever walked out of an ice cream parlor and said, that's the best damn air content I ever ate. They never walked out and said, oh man, I love going there because it's so much higher fat than the other guy. People don't eat air, they don't eat fat. It's like the judge said about art. You know, I know it when I see it. You know what you like the taste of. And a good ice cream, a great ice cream, is a combination of the proper air, the proper fat for your market, and most of all, the flavor. If you use cheap flavors, you've got cheap ice cream. The other thing along that same line about what people say walking out of an ice cream parlor is...
Not recommended.
Thanks, Sadie. All right, that's it. You have to leave. I'm sorry.
Health department closed down instantly.
Come on. Here we go.
A word about timers. Steve will tell you about timers. If you notice, I just started it. The reason I have a $3 timer on my machine is not to time anything. It's simply so that I can look over and know that I turned the refrigeration on. Because the same flavor, this ice cream may take 10 minutes. If we make another batch right away, it'll take 8 minutes or 7.5 minutes because the machine is cold already. So the timer is useless. He'll tell you why he doesn't put them in the machine. You don't need it. But I put a timer on all the time so that my mind will know if I'm doing something and I look over, I know that I've started the refrigeration on it. Understand? Pretty simple. Yes, sir.
So you said number one is flavor. Number two is smoothness, consistency.
What do you mean 1 and 2? What is
Number one is flavor, and then air and fat content are what your market wants. So let me explain that. If you're selling to a very high-end restaurant and they say, we want a Haagen-Dazs type product, you're going to run this as a low air content machine because that's what they want. A low air content 4-ounce portion is going to be so small it's going to fall into the bottom third of the cone. So if I'm running an ice cream parlor and I'm touting I give big portions, I want a higher air content. The low air content is going to leave you feeling very full. I think that's dangerous. Yes?
Yesterday in the Atlanta airport, they had High Rose Craft.
That's me. High Rose Craft ice cream is me.
After I ate, I decided to go for it. She said it was good. Look at this portion. But all day long, I was not hungry. Didn't eat any supper last night. Why?
Because it's a high-fat, low-air
because you're a
content
wimp.
ice cream.
You can't eat much
Now,
ice cream.
it depends on, again, it depends on the market. Let me show you the example about...
Hot day, I mean, still a pretty hot day till last night.
Let me tell you about butterfat content and heat. In New York, we have what I call the fat wars. If you're selling 14% fat ice cream, which is high, I'm going to sell 16, just so I can say I'm the richest ice cream in New York. It's the only reason to do it. You come down here with your New York attitudes, aka me, and you say, oh, we're going to make a killing in the ice cream business, we're going to sell 16%, people are going to love it. They hate it. And why do they hate it? Because the higher the fat content of a product, the more it upsets your stomach, the more it makes you sweat. The body can't assimilate high fat contents. And if you go out in 100-degree temperature and 100% humidity, you're going to drop dead in the parking lot, which, as Jeff will tell you, is really bad for business. So down here in Florida, the big successful ice cream parlors are actually running very low fat. 10% is the minimum to still call it ice cream. What you're eating today is 10%. A lot of the United States of America considers this junk ice cream because it's only 10% fat. It's not 14 or 16, but it's appropriate for this market. If I'm in San Francisco and I can get hold of 18%, I'm selling 18% because that's what that market wants. Chefs tell me they want a very dense ice cream like Haagen-Dazs, and when you talk to that's the average chef. You talk to a great chef and they don't want anything to do with it, even though the machine can produce them anything they want. But they know that if you've just finished a 5-course meal and then you have a very dense ice cream and you walk out of there feeling full, you don't say, that ice cream made me feel full. You say, Le Pelletier restaurant made me feel ill, ergo, I'm not going back to Le Pelletier. You have to leave the person satisfied. What do we say about Chinese food? An hour later, we're full. As soon as we finish, we're full. Hour later, we're hungry. You have to be careful that you match the product to the people. And as you go higher in fat, so does your cost. And so... That's $7.99 is Atlanta Airport in a big city. That's a high price, but High Road Craft ice cream is a superb ice cream, and good people. They use my machines, and they're going like gangbusters. But it's appropriate to their market.
Okay, when you go ahead.
Sure I do. Great, Frusion Gladja was great packaging.
Yeah.
It was white and it was curved on the bottom, so if you put it on the counter, it flopped over. It came out the same time as Haagen-Dazs, and look where they went. You know, there was nothing Frusion Gladja about it. That was a made-up name like Haagen-Dazs was out of Brooklyn, except Reuben Mattis, who started Haagen-Dazs, really, like Jeff, knew flavors. His flavors are spectacular. Frusion Gladja was a packaging and name, fun, big deal. You buy it once and that was it. They went out of business.
Okay, when you set up your place, if you're going to sell ice cream, then what you should do is go to Walmart and pick up 98-cent pie shells. They come like this, and they're 98 cents. Take off the top, and I always run off a couple of pies of each flavor when I make ice cream, put the top back on, put my label on it, and in the freezer. And I always have, I don't know, 30, 40 pies in the freezer, and I sell them for $10 a pie, and everybody can leave with a pie, and it's great. It's really inexpensive when you consider this is $1. Yes?
How long do you keep those in the freezer?
Not long enough.
I want to show you. I have the same one, and I'm going to use them to make pie ice cream later. Mine
beat
cost
you.
$1.39 because I went to Whole Food. So mine must be better.
Well, he has the Oreo. These come in graham cracker, Oreo, and chocolate crust.
One little trick, a mistake I made the first time I did this. Hey, we're making ice cream. It's cold. Why not take these and put them in the freezer and get them cold? Sounds good. They all broke into little pieces. Yeah, you have to use them at shelf temperature.
It's a really simple thing to do. Yes, sir.
Have you ever made with regular pie crust, pre-baked regular pie crust?
It's at 98 cents. Like, dude,
That was
it's
my dad's
98
favorite.
cents. They don't eat the pie crust, they eat the ice cream. Oh, we're getting there. Woo. So I always draw off a couple, and I thought I would do one here today, and you can see it's so simple. I use, hey, I'm working here. I use 1 gallon containers to freeze my ice cream. What size do I use? Right. I use 1 gallon ice cream, and coincidentally, it works to hold the pie when I fill them. So that works out good for me. You know that? That's pretty cool, right?
That's cute.
It sits right on there, and I
That
fill
works.
the pie.
I'll do that when I do mine. That's
There
a
you
great
go.
idea.
There you go. And when it breaks off, your ice cream's ready. So all we do is take one of these, and you have to be careful not to overfill it. And there you go. And you put the top on it in the freezer, put a thing on it, it'll be fine. We have more containers, I hope?
Lots more. I'll give you these because Connie's filling them.
Okay.
Yes.
I know your machine it has the preset, the motto, whatever that you can make. Can you also manually control?
Absolutely. Yeah. Once it says right at the top, manual speed, or if you just push gelato and it goes to 140 or 135, you can then up and down it in increments of 5 to anything you want. It's totally adjustable, infinitely adjustable.
Okay.
So you want to come up and try this?
You can try this.
Sammy, come here, girl.